Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 49.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to conquer limiting beliefs and transform your world with your gifting and purpose. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode 49 as you heard, which means 50 is around the corner. That's exciting for me. I love reaching milestones, but this is just the beginning. Today we are going to talk about shame. But before I get into that, I want to remind you that flattenyourfear.com is open. Go there to register for the free summit to hear from 22 thought leaders. These are amazing people. I interviewed each one of them for 30 minutes about fear, about obstacles in their life, about overcoming those things that they needed to so they could operate in their purpose and really change their world. Each of these interviews is so special. I'm very proud of this product and I know it will help you. Please don't miss it. Sign up at flattenyourfear.com. It starts August 1st with a video a day sent to your email. This is free, so there's no reason for you not to do it. I promise you, it will be a great experience for you. So, shame. Let's talk about shame. Not a fun topic to talk about, but one which unites us as human beings as we all feel it from time to time. And since it's a mental belief system, it is a mindset, we can use the same tools and techniques that we talk about all the time to deal with shame correctly. But we want to dig into what it really is so we can recognize it when it shows up in our life. If you look basically at the definition of shame from the dictionary, it is a painful emotion caused by consciousness of guilt or shortcoming. Now, it's interesting that guilt is in the definition of shame, but I feel like there is a distinct difference between guilt and shame. I think guilt comes from violating your own conscience. So you have, internally your own values and belief system. And when we do something through our words, our thoughts, our actions, which violates that, we can feel guilt. But I think that is internal compared to shame, which tends to be externally put upon us. Shame is a little bit more about not meeting the expectations or approval of others, being looked down upon by others. So while guilt may be something that is internally sourced, shame, I believe, tends to come externally. Now, it can come to us and we can accept it or not accept it, but if we do embrace the shame that others may put upon us, then of course it becomes part of our belief system and it becomes part of the way we think, and then we've now internalized it and it's no longer an external force. So we have to be very careful about internalizing shame. So 2 types of shame I think is worth discussing. One is really a healthy shame. Kind of hard to say that because the word shame itself is such a turnoff and seems so negative that you would want to avoid it at all costs. But where guilt can help you sort of redirect yourself, I think a healthy shame related to that could do so as well. So if your internal belief system is not triggering you to guilt, to say, hey, you just did something that you know better, right? You did something against your own values. A healthy shame steps in where your guilt system maybe isn't working. And a healthy shame externally says, hey, you made a mistake. You're responsible for your actions. You've done something wrong. And you're reminded then that you have in fact violated a healthy belief system. So that's coming from an external source to remind us, right, to reinforce that we need to have certain values, a certain belief system, and certain ways of behaving in this society that are considered just objectively good, objectively positive and moral. So if you don't feel that guilt from something you've done, because for whatever reason your moral compass is off, then you may feel healthy shame from external forces that are reminding you that you've violated what would be a commonly held moral code in society or in relationships with each other. So I think that that's okay. I think that if your guilt system isn't working enough to get you back on course, And, we need to get past the guilt, right? It's just a sign along the way. It's a street sign saying, hey, don't go down this street, or you went the wrong way, reverse course. We don't want to stay there, but it is a signal to us. And so can be shame that comes from an external force that says, hey, you did something that's not good. We can use that to redirect ourselves. We can use that in a positive way. We don't want to stay there though, and we don't want it to define ourselves. We simply want to use it as a way to adjust our behavior and our thoughts. So that can be a healthy version of shame. Now, unhealthy shame, which is probably the majority of what a lot of us deal with or see, is when the thoughts are like, I made a mistake, which means I'm not worthy. Not, I made a mistake, someone is trying to redirect my course and my choices, and I'm going to take this opportunity to do that. That's the healthy side. The unhealthy side is, I made a mistake, and therefore I am not a good person. Therefore, the conclusions you make are that you are not worthy, that you are flawed. So really the healthy shame is because of something we've done, but unhealthy shame now results in something that redefines us in a negative way. Feeling unhealthy shame can make you regret even who you are. It has a way of challenging the very fabric of what we think about ourselves. It isn't redirecting our behavior and making us better people. It is tearing down the structure of who we are. And it is the unhealthy shame that can haunt us, that can actually make us question how we have been made as an individual, make us question our very value here on this earth, and make us question all of our choices going forward. So you can see how unhealthy shame can literally paralyze someone, can literally make someone stand still and not know how to move forward. But healthy shame, that helps you go to another level in your behavior. That helps you become more the person who you're supposed to be. And again, it's a signal pointing you in the right direction. But if you get stuck and you use the shame to beat yourself up, that's when we are going to now step into negative mindsets. In fact, we know that these kind of thoughts that can be brought on by unhealthy shame, by an unhealthy reaction to all of that, can change the thought patterns in our brain, can change us chemically, can change the way our brain functions. Neuroscience tells us that it's neuroplasticity, guys. It is the most powerful thing about our brain. It can be used to our benefit and is often used to our detriment. We can change the patterns of a way our brain waves work. We can change our thoughts and therefore change the chemicals excreted by our brain, change the way our brain functions by our thoughts, negative or positive. So what do you think that unhealthy shame that lingers, an unhealthy shame that tells us we're no good, shame that, we're looking at ourselves often as unworthy when in fact maybe someone has done something to us to make us feel that way, right? So someone else's choice to hurt us, to abuse us, makes us feel shame about ourselves. Incredibly unhealthy. And this is something that we see happening especially to children. It is one of the most dangerous aspects of childhood abuse, or even just neglect or difficult circumstances that children go through, is the unhealthy shame that they embrace, even unknowingly, as a result of what other people have done to them. And it's something that adults spend decades getting over, if they ever do. We have to recognize it. That shame that you feel from what someone did to you as a child, that's not about you doing something wrong. That's not healthy shame. That's not guilt of making an immoral choice. You didn't have a choice. Someone made the choice for you, did that to you, and then what is so incredibly damaging is left you with a shame that somehow it was about you, that somehow it diminishes you as a person. That is dangerous. That is difficult. And it's something that we have to address because it changes our mindset. We are, as adults, thinking things that are just not true. We're believing lies that are so deep in our subconscious because as children, we embrace them unknowingly because of what someone did to us. So unhealthy shame is a result of when we receive as truth a lie about ourselves and our worth. This is, again, embracing a lie. And it can get incredibly personal and painful, and it can get passed down through family generations. So what are some characteristics of that, of unhealthy shame? Where does it come from? How do we recognize it, especially, as children experience life? How can we see it as adults and help the children that are in our lives and stop this cycle? I mean, we see words, phrases, statements made by others, nicknames, put downs, and jokes that continually in someone's life can create unhealthy shame. And probably that category is the most significant because we know words are so damaging, especially repeated over time, negative words, and especially from a source that is considered an authority in your life. I've said many times that repeated lies from an authority figure over time you embrace as truth unless you challenge them. Of course, we have physical, emotional, and sexual abuse that happens when people are young, or even can go into the young adult years, and really any time. That kind of abuse, but especially when you're younger, creates unhealthy shame, creates damaging shame. Rejection and abandonment goes right along with that, and that can happen at any age. And when your needs are unmet, your spiritual, your emotional needs, even physical needs, shelter, food, all those things, when those things are unmet, you tell yourself, I'm not worthy. And again, external shame from others' decisions, you are now reframing the way you look at yourself. Mistakes and failures, that's a big one. That's a big one where we make a mistake and it goes beyond us saying we made the mistake and we're going to change course, and it turns into this unhealthy shame that takes root and says that you're no good as a result. That failure that happened to you, you're no good as a result. Instead of the healthy way to address failure, which is a learning experience. When we can't do that and we allow it to change the way we look at ourselves, that is unhealthy shame that takes root and we need to deal with. When we compare ourselves to the unrealistic standards set in society, again, what others put upon us, and we allow them to do that, and we cannot meet those expectations, again, unhealthy shame that can hold us back. Again, unhealthy shame that rewrites the way we look at ourselves and really turns into unrealistic expectations about who we are. This is coming down to an internal struggle, really is what it is. It's an internal struggle between your desire to embrace life, to move forward, to find your purpose, to be all you were created to be, against this unhealthy shame that you've adopted, often without even realizing it, from experiences with other people, from things that have happened to you, from choices you've made, whatever that looks like. You haven't dealt with it, and it's turned into this unhealthy shame that's at war with a side of you that wants to embrace life, because the unhealthy shame says, you know what, you'll never be anything. It's not worth even trying. Just play small. Just sit down and shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you. You're a mistake. You don't matter. What you want to do is not going to make a difference. It's not going to work anyway. Lots of limiting beliefs rooted in unhealthy shame, which is rooted in all the abuse that we listed and all the things that people go through. And it doesn't even have to be some incredible, horrible story that some people have. It can be the small things that we carry with us. It can be that small thing that a parent said to us that for some reason just tore us down and we didn't let go of it and we didn't forgive. It can be that first boss that you had that told you that you didn't have the talent that you needed to do this job. The things that we allow to go into our subconscious, the things that we allow and embrace to become part of the way we see ourselves. And that just over time builds these layers that we have such a hard time even finding the root of after a while. Just layers of self-limiting beliefs brought on by this unhealthy shame, which threatens to completely derail us if we allow it to. And as I'm saying all of this, you're either relating to it in some way or you know someone who struggles with that. This is not a mystery. This is not an unusual thing. Unfortunately, it's more common than not. And as adults, we literally have to start peeling back the layers of all of this. We literally have to start dealing with all of these experiences that we've had and finding ways to rewrite, rewire, and reconsider who we are as a person, who we're meant to be, and how we can actually change our world around us with the gifts and the talents that we have been given. It is a process. It's no different than any other limiting belief. But I think there's a lot more self-reflection. There's a lot more self-awareness that needs to take place, because identifying the fact that that belief system that you've built is not from you. It's put upon you by others. Yes, you built it, but you didn't originate it. It's not like we're born into this world just coming with limiting beliefs and thinking that we're not deserving and we're not valuable. No, none of that is true. It's what we experience. And some of it can be generational, absolutely. And there can be trauma in our DNA and all kind of things that are just so unbelievably fascinating from a scientific standpoint. But it's the experiences layered on top of that that triggers all of that to manifest. And it's by what we experience. So we have a choice. And that's really what it comes down to. Every time when we talk about mindset, when we talk about limiting beliefs, when we talk about the struggles of not seeing ourselves correctly, whatever the source is of that, it comes down to choice. We have a choice to rewrite it. We have a choice to change it. We have a choice to uncover it, deal with the pain, and put it aside once and for all. There's a process to doing that. I talk about it in my book, 14-step process to working through all those limiting beliefs. But listen, unhealthy shame is no different. It just happens to be one of the most damaging things that if you embrace, it can paralyze you. So today, if you're feeling paralyzed, if you're feeling like you can't move forward, if you're feeling like you're not worthy, and you're hearing a lot of the things that I just said, and maybe you know or maybe you don't know the root of that, you need to go on this journey of self-reflection and self-awareness. You need to find where the root is, where the source is of all of this. And if you want to embrace life and walk in your purpose, which I would believe everyone wants to, you've got to do the work. You've got to make the choices, and you've got to start to make the changes. Really, your future is waiting for you. It's just waiting for you to do that. But no one else can do it for you. No one else. And this all is, forgiveness is one of the most important aspects of all of this. This isn't about pointing your finger at someone else, because that's not going to help you. This is about finding the root, working in forgiveness and doing what you need to do to rewrite your future. And it's possible for everyone. Please don't think, I can't do it, it's too hard. No, you must do it. Your very future depends on it. And the future of other people who you're supposed to impact depends on it. We all need you to do the work. We all need you to walk in your gifts and talents and be in your purpose so that we can all benefit from what you were put here on earth to do. We need you to do the work. So it's time to deal with unhealthy shame. It's time to challenge it. It's time to rewrite the script in your head about who you are and what possibility lies in front of you. And guess what? It's never too late. As long as you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still on earth with us. That means there's a reason, there is a purpose. It is not too late. Don't wait any longer. Decide today is the day. I'm going to deal with this unhealthy shame, and I'm going to start to change my life and others as a result. Guys, God bless. Do the work. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, if you want to be part of a free online community of like-minded individuals for support, resources, and inspiration as you conquer your limiting beliefs and pursue your purpose, go to elizabethnader.com/community. That's elizabethnader.com/community, or search for Master Your Mindset Academy private group on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you online.